Level 1. The entry point. You're sitting in a nondescript government building that could easily be mistaken for a DMV office. Harsh fluorescent lighting, stale coffee in the break room, linoleum floors that squeak when you walk. A man in an unremarkable grey suit has been asking you questions for nearly 4 hours straight. Where did you grow up? What languages can you speak? Have you ever experimented with drugs? Have you traveled to Iran, Syria, North Korea? Each question seems disconnected from the last, but there's a method here. They're constructing a psychological profile of who you are, searching for inconsistencies in your story, measuring how you react under sustained interrogation. You pass. Then comes the polygraph examination. Sensors wrap around your chest, your fingertips, your forearm. A technician monitors your heart rate, tracks your breathing patterns, measures the electrical conductivity of your skin. The questions get more personal. Have you committed crimes you were never caught for? Have you ever betrayed someone who trusted you? The machine doesn't actually detect lies, despite what most people believe. What it does is measure your physiological stress responses. But you don't know this technical detail. You sweat through your shirt. Your voice cracks when you answer. You tell the complete truth because the alternative is unthinkable. 3 weeks pass. A letter arrives. You've been accepted into the clandestine service trainee program. Welcome to the Central Intelligence Agency. Level 2. Training begins at a facility in Virginia that locals refer to as the farm. 9,000 acres of forests, wetlands, and specialized training buildings, all surrounded by high fences and armed security personnel. This becomes your entire world for the next 18 months. Your alarm sounds at 5 in the morning. You run 5 miles before eating breakfast. Then you sit in classrooms absorbing information about foreign governments, terrorist networks, and something they call tradecraft. Tradecraft means spy skills. You learn surveillance detection. That sedan has followed you through the last 3 intersections. That man with the newspaper glanced at you twice in 5 minutes. That woman sitting on the park bench was also at the coffee shop this morning. You're being trained to notice patterns invisible to ordinary civilians. You learn counter-surveillance, how to lose someone following you, duck into a crowded department store, navigate through multiple floors, slip out through the loading dock, jump into a waiting vehicle, and vanish completely. You study lock manipulation, safe cracking, covert bug placement, document photography. The equipment you practice on is real. Those safes were removed from actual embassies. Those locks came from foreign government buildings. Then comes the psychology of recruitment. You study how to convince people to betray their own countries. There are 4 primary motivations that drive human betrayal: money, ideology, coercion, and ego. Every potential asset falls into one of these categories. Your job is to identify which button to push, then push it without hesitation. You run practice operations in Richmond, Norfolk, Washington. Your instructors roleplay as hostile intelligence officers attempting to catch you. Get caught, you fail the exercise. Fail too many exercises, you're removed from the program. The washout rate sits at 40%. Some candidates crack under sustained pressure. Others can't maintain the constant deception. Some discover they have too many moral boundaries for this type of work. The ones who succeed aren't necessarily the most intelligent or physically capable. They're the ones who adapt quickly, who can lie to anyone, including themselves, without showing signs of stress, who can compartmentalize completely, performing morally questionable actions, then going home to eat dinner with family members as if nothing happened. You graduate near the top of your class. They issue you credentials and a cover identity. You're now officially a CIA operations officer. Your actual career is just beginning. Level 3. Your first assignment places you in an Eastern European embassy, in a country still determining whether it will align with Western interests or drift back toward authoritarian structures. Your official title is political attaché. Your name appears on diplomatic rosters. You maintain an office inside the embassy compound. You attend formal diplomatic functions wearing uncomfortable suits, making polite conversation with people you're secretly evaluating as potential intelligence sources. You shake hands with local officials, memorizing everything they mention. You write detailed reports about economic trends and political developments that get transmitted back to Washington in classified cables. That's your cover. Your real mission is asset recruitment. An asset is anyone with access to information the United States needs. A government minister who attends classified cabinet meetings, a military officer who knows troop deployment schedules, a weapons scientist, a businessman who travels to countries Americans can't visit, a secretary who processes classified documents. Anyone with access becomes a potential target. You identify vulnerabilities, study their routines, their weaknesses, their pressure points. Does he have gambling debts? Does she have a chronically ill child requiring expensive medical care? Is he ideologically sympathetic to democratic values? Is she harboring resentment toward her government for some personal grievance? Your first successful recruitment takes 8 months. He's a mid-level bureaucrat in the foreign ministry with access to diplomatic communications. He also has significant gambling debts. You approach him at a casino, buy him drinks, become his friend over weeks and months, loan him money to cover his losses, then loan him more, and more again. By the time he realizes the trap has closed, he owes you $50,000. You never ask him to betray his country in those exact words. You ask him to share some documents, just a few, nothing particularly important, just enough to clear his debt. He agrees because he has no other choice. You now control an intelligence source inside the foreign ministry. You file your report. Your supervisors express satisfaction with your work. But what comes next will test you in ways training never could. Level 4. Most CIA officers operate under official cover. They're diplomats with credentials, military attachés with identification, trade representatives with legitimate business cards. They have embassy offices. If something goes wrong and they're caught somewhere they shouldn't be, diplomatic immunity protects them. They get expelled. It's politically embarrassing, but they walk away. Their families remain safe. Their careers survive. You're offered something entirely different. Non-official cover. NOC, pronounced knock. This represents the most dangerous assignment in the intelligence community. No diplomatic protection. No embassy to retreat into. No badge or government identification linking you to the United States. If you're caught, you face prosecution under local laws. The CIA will deny your existence. The State Department will issue no statements. The president will never acknowledge you. In certain countries, capture means decades in prison. In others, interrogation under torture. In others, execution without trial. The compensation is higher. The missions matter more. The risks are catastrophic. You accept. They construct what they call a legend, a completely fabricated identity. You become a business consultant working for a firm that appears legitimate. Real offices, actual employees, genuine clients. None of them know your true purpose. You travel to nations where America officially maintains no intelligence operations. You meet individuals the diplomatic service cannot approach. You recruit. Sources impossible for embassy staff to contact. You maintain your cover identity constantly. Your neighbors believe you analyze corporate strategies. Your romantic partner thinks you travel frequently for client meetings. Your parents think you left government service years ago to pursue private sector opportunities. Only your handlers at Langley headquarters know the truth. You haven't met them face to face in 2 years. All communication flows through dead drops and encrypted digital channels. You operate in complete isolation. Level 5. They extract you from NOC work after your cover nearly collapses in Beirut. A hostile intelligence service grew suspicious of your activities. They initiated surveillance. They photographed you during an asset meeting. You detected the surveillance and aborted the operation, but the margin was razor thin. You're not completely burned, but you're compromised. That region is closed to you permanently. They offer an alternative path, the Special Activities Division. This is the CIA's paramilitary branch. Not spies who occasionally handle weapons, soldiers who occasionally collect intelligence. The most elite component is the Special Operations Group. These operators go where conventional military forces cannot. They execute missions too sensitive, too deniable, too legally questionable for official armed forces. You undergo another training cycle. This isn't about surveillance detection or document photography. 6 months of the most brutal military preparation available. Small unit tactics, close quarters battle, explosives and demolition work, advanced weapons proficiency with every firearm manufactured in the last half-century, high-altitude parachute insertions, combat diving, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape protocols. Your instructors are former Delta Force and SEAL Team 6 operators, the absolute best, now contracted to the agency. They don't care about your recruitment abilities. They care whether you can breach a door and clear a hostile room without getting your team killed. Your first deployment is Afghanistan. You're hunting high-value targets, Al-Qaeda leadership, Taliban commanders, bomb makers responsible for American casualties. You spend 3 months in a mountain compound, eating local food, growing facial hair, wearing traditional clothing. You coordinate with Afghan militia fighters whose loyalty remains uncertain. Some fought alongside the Mujahideen against Soviet forces. Others fought for the Taliban before switching allegiances when the money improved. Trust is fluid. Betrayal is always one better offer away. You call in drone strikes on compounds, harboring terrorist cells. Through binoculars, you watch Hellfire missiles convert buildings into smoking craters. Sometimes the intelligence is accurate and dangerous people die. Sometimes the intelligence is flawed and innocent people die. Women, children, people whose only mistake was being present. You try not to dwell on the failures because you have another mission tomorrow. You receive a classified commendation for an operation that officially never occurred in a country where you were never officially present. Your family will never understand what you did or why you wake up screaming some nights. Level 6. After 5 years in special activities, you're promoted to team leader. You command your own unit now, 8 operators. 4 are career CIA paramilitary officers like yourself. 4 are contractors, former special operations personnel, earning triple your salary. But you make the tactical decisions. You're responsible for mission success. You're responsible for their lives. Your team deploys to Libya during the civil war. Gaddafi's regime is collapsing. The country descends into chaos. Competing militias battle in urban streets. Weapons stockpiles are being looted. Your mission is locating and securing chemical weapons before they reach extremist groups. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, any of dozens of organizations that would use mustard gas or sarin without hesitation. You spend 6 weeks in Tripoli while the city burns. You operate exclusively at night. You sleep 2 hours at a time during daylight in safe houses that rotate every 48 hours. You bribe militia commanders for intelligence. You interrogate prisoners that friendly forces capture. You pay informants who might be fabricating information, might be setting traps, might be working for adversaries. You raid weapons facilities in darkness, never knowing if you'll encounter empty rooms or armed resistance. You locate 3 caches of chemical agents that official reports claimed didn't exist. 15 tons of weaponized material capable of killing hundreds of thousands. You destroy them on site because transport is impossible. You rig demolition charges and incinerate everything. During your final night in country, your convoy encounters an ambush. 1 operator dies, 2 are wounded. You carry one of them half a mile to the extraction zone while bullets crack past your head. Level 7. The helicopter extracts you. The mission gets classified as successful. You compose letters to the families of casualties. Every word is a lie. You cannot reveal what actually happened. You cannot tell anyone. 15 years of field operations have destroyed your body. Your shoulder dislocates from a fall in Afghanistan. Your knees ache every morning from countless parachute landings. Your ears ring constantly from too many explosions. You're 42, but feel 60. Medical evaluators determine you cannot continue field work. Too many concussions, too much cumulative damage. They offer you chief of station. You become the senior CIA officer for an entire country. One of the most powerful positions in the intelligence community. Every operation, every asset, every intelligence product flows through your approval. You manage 40 officers, case officers, reports officers, technical specialists, security personnel. You manage hundreds of local assets providing intelligence. You meet the ambassador daily to coordinate diplomatic activities. You maintain liaison relationships with local intelligence services. Some are genuine allies. Some are adversaries pretending friendship. Some are assets you personally recruited years ago who now run their own services. The political complexity is exhausting. Washington demands results. The embassy demands you avoid incidents. The host government demands explanations for American activities in restricted areas. You balance everything. You approve operations that could trigger international crises if exposed. You terminate operations that might produce valuable intelligence but carry excessive risk. Every choice is gambling. Every success remains classified. Every failure appears on newspaper front pages. You sleep 4 hours nightly. You haven't taken vacation in 3 years. Your marriage ended during your second Middle East tour. Your children are adults now. They don't really know you. They know the cover story. They know the person you pretend to be. Level 8. They need someone to command a facility that doesn't officially exist. A black site, located in a country that will deny its presence. The host government received payment. Local security forces provide perimeter security without asking questions. The facility appears unremarkable: a warehouse, an abandoned factory, a disused military installation, insider cells, interrogation rooms, medical facilities to sustain prisoner health. The prisoners are high-value detainees, terrorist leadership, bomb makers, financial facilitators, couriers who understand network structures. They were captured in raids across multiple countries, never formally arrested, never appeared before judges, no legal representation, no official existence. As far as the world knows, they vanished. Your job is extracting intelligence. The techniques are classified. Enhanced interrogation is the official terminology. Sleep deprivation, stress positions, temperature manipulation, waterboarding. Some techniques were legal when you began using them. Some were retroactively legalized through Justice Department memoranda. Some remain debated by Washington lawyers who have never sat across from someone who knows where the next attack originates. You tell yourself it's necessary. You tell yourself the information prevents casualties. You tell yourself these prisoners would massacre millions of Americans given opportunity. Some nights you believe it. Some nights you stare at the ceiling wondering if you're still one of the good guys. You command the facility for 2 years. When you depart, they award you a commendation that will never appear in any file. The facility continues operating. Someone else runs it now. You don't ask who. You don't want to know. Level 9. You return to Langley headquarters, the building you first entered 25 years ago as a nervous applicant. Now you walk past the memorial wall bearing 139 stars for officers who died in service. Some were your friends, some died in operations you planned. You command an entire division of the National Clandestine Service, perhaps the Near East Division covering the Middle East, perhaps the Special Activities Center overseeing all paramilitary operations, perhaps the Counterterrorism Center hunting those who target Americans. Hundreds of officers report to you. Thousands of assets worldwide feed intelligence into your systems. Billions of dollars in black budget funding flow through your accounts. Money absent from congressional reports. Money that officially doesn't exist. You brief the president on covert operations. You sit in the Situation Room with the Secretary of Defense and National Security Advisor, while decisions are made that will never be publicly acknowledged. You recommend drone strike targets. You authorize operations in countries where America officially isn't operating. Syria, Iran, Pakistan. Countries that are technically allies. Countries that are technically adversaries. Countries where the distinction shifts weekly. You approve activities that would constitute war crimes if discovered. You testify before congressional intelligence committees, but genuine briefings occur in closed sessions without transcripts. Senators ask questions. You provide answers that are technically accurate but deliberately incomplete. Everyone understands the arrangement. They want plausible deniability. You provide it. Operations continue. Bodies accumulate in countries most Americans couldn't locate on maps. Intelligence flows. Some prevents attacks. Some triggers more attacks. The entire apparatus runs on secrets and blood, and you're among those who keep it running. Level 10. You retire after 30 years. 30 years of secrets. 30 years of operations that never happened. 30 years of assets recruited and sometimes killed. 30 years of decisions that altered history in ways no book will record. There's a small ceremony at Langley. 50 people attend. Most are colleagues from decades of operations. A few are officers you mentored who now command their own divisions. The director delivers a speech about service to country, sacrifice, dedication, the price of freedom. Your colleagues applaud, some cry. You receive the Distinguished Intelligence Cross, the highest award the CIA grants. It will remain in a closet box because you cannot display it, cannot explain it, cannot tell anyone what you did to earn it. You sign additional non-disclosure agreements. Everything you did, everything you witnessed, everything you know remains classified for the rest of your life. You relocate to a house in rural Virginia. You don't have many friends. Former colleagues are scattered globally or dead. People you knew before the agency are strangers now. You cannot explain where you've been for 30 years, cannot explain the scars, cannot explain why you wake at 3 in the morning and patrol your property perimeter searching for threats that aren't there. Your pension is substantial, your healthcare is comprehensive, the government cares for its own, financially at least. But you're alone with your memories, assets you recruited who were captured and executed, operations that failed, people you interrogated, people you killed. None of it officially occurred. None will ever be acknowledged. You are a ghost. You did what your country required, things that would horrify most citizens if revealed. You carry that weight alone. You'll carry it until death. When you die, there will be another star on that wall at Langley. No name, just a star. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is filling out that online application, dreaming of adventure, dreaming of serving their country, imagining they'll be like the spies in movies. They have no idea what they're actually choosing. They don't know about the isolation, the moral compromises, the images that never fade. They don't know this work will hollow them out and refill them with secrets they can never share. But they'll learn. They always do.